So we're Corey and Julie from CJ Adventure Oregon, and we're hanging here at the Northwest Overland Rally with the Waypoint, and we're having a great time.
Fantastic. Make it next year.
Sponsored by Midland. Communication for every adventure. The industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years.
Sponsored by MyMedic. First aid kits that will actually save your life, not just Band-Aids and gauze.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
All right, everybody. I want you to know I'm very excited because I have the perfect guest with me this week. You know, there are a lot of couples and families who have aspirations of seeking adventure, but have hectic lives, and getting started is a huge obstacle for them. Today, we're honored to have special guests, Corey and Julie of CJ Adventures, with us. They're an average family from Southwest Oregon seeking adventure any way they can in a 2014 Jeep Rubicon, a 2019 Toyota 4RUNNER, and a Teardrop Northwest trailer. They work full-time, have 3 active kids and busy lives, but make time for adventure. You can find them on their YouTube channel, CJ Adventures, inspiring and motivating other busy couples and families to find time for their own adventures. Corey and Julie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again. So let's get right into it. You guys, tell me where you were born and raised.
So I was born in Vegas and raised mostly in Vegas. I grew up in a military family, so spent early childhood traveling around the world a lot. We lived in Vegas, Kentucky, Texas, Virginia. Spent a few years overseas over in Germany, and then moved back to Vegas somewhere around 10, and for the next 20 years lived in Vegas.
And you, Julie?
Yeah. And I actually grew up in Oregon, southwestern Oregon. I grew up in Bandon. It's a little tiny town on the southern Oregon coast. And I moved to the big city of Coos Bay when I became an adult, and that's it.
So did you guys grow up overlanding or traveling?
So growing up, my dad always had a Jeep or Jeeps. And so I spent a lot of time kind of off-roading, bouncing around in the desert. We didn't do any camping, though, because Dad always said that he camped for a living and had zero interest in doing any more. And so organically grew the love of Jeeps and off-roading. And then that just kind of transitioned into camping and overlanding throughout the years.
Mm-hmm. And I did a lot of camping when I was a kid with my family. It was kind of our thing to do on the weekends and in the summer. My brothers and I would sleep in the tent with my mom, and my dad would sleep outside on a cot. And we did that most of the summer. We'd bring the fishing boat and just camp and fish. So. All
right. Well, I've already introduced you guys as working hard and playing hard. So tell my audience what you guys do.
So I'm a cardiac x-ray tech in our local cath lab here at Coos Bay. Basically, I do angiograms on people's hearts when they have a heart attack or have random chest pains. We'll go and do the angiogram, put the stents in, angioplasties, pacemaker implants, things along those lines.
Yeah. And I'm a cardiac nurse. I actually work in the same area as Corey. I work in the cath lab. We both take call. We met years ago, and I was an ICU nurse, and Corey was an MRI tech, and now we're fortunate we get to work together.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys get into the overlanding?
So when I sold my CJ5 and bought the Jeep Rubicon, Julie had been following along on, I don't know where she saw it, but she had found the Oregon backcountry discovery route and says, hey, let's do that in the Jeep. So we packed up our backpacking gear and just went out camping, followed the route along, and had a great time.
Yeah, it was a new experience. I mean, we just did it. We had backpacking gear and a 2-door Jeep Rubicon. And we were convinced we were going to have no room for anything. So we packed nothing. And then at the end, we realized we actually had a lot of room. We could have brought a regular tent, a blow up mattress, but it was our first trip and it was fun. We were addicted.
And
So.
I want my audience to know that a lot of those adventures on the back road discovery route, I've watched them, and you can watch them too on your YouTube channel. Unless you've taken them off, they should still be there. And there'll be information down there for people to see how to tune into your YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
So you guys have a 4RUNNER, you have a trailer, and you have a Rubicon, 2-door. What made you choose that as your way of travel? What was the evolution?
So basically bought the Jeep and loved the idea of camping, but sleeping on the ground kind of got old very quick.
Very quick.
And so I kind of wish that I got a 4-door or something that I could put a rooftop tent on. And so I gently convinced her to buy the Toyota and get a rooftop tent. And then as soon as we bought the rooftop tent for the Toyota, we were offered the teardrop at a price that we couldn't turn down. And
yeah. So it's been an evolution of 4 years now of our gear. So we started with the Jeep, and then 2 years later we got the 4RUNNER, and then immediately the rooftop tent, and then the trailer. So
yeah, and each one sort of has its own specific purpose. You know, if we're going out where we want to go play on the trails, we'll bring the teardrop, park that as base camp, and then go out exploring in the Jeep all day. Or if we're just going to go camp on the beach, it works out well to drag the 4RUNNER out with the rooftop tent. Yeah, because we know we're just going to be stationary.
Yeah.
So besides the trial and error of figuring out the right rig, the right setup, and things like that, what were the hurdles that you had to overcome to move forward with your overlanding? You know, whether it be family, money, whatever.
Time.
Time.
Yes. Between our work schedules, we both work full time, and then we take call. So, I mean, we're on call, a certain amount of days a month, 24 hours a day. And so that limits it. We end up having 2 weekends free a month usually. And then we have 3 busy kids, teenagers. And so they're always involved in something. So, and they sometimes join us, sometimes not. But I would say time. But, we just try and plan ahead and make time,
I love that. I love that. The trailer, your trailer, I remember when you guys were testing it out before you even decided that was the move you were going to make. And you guys, you whipped up some pretty nice things in it. You probably don't remember, but I stole your Egg McMuffin recipe.
Yes.
So what's your go-to meal to prepare, and why? If you've got some people gonna meet you at the beach or wherever, and you want to whip something up, what's your go-to impress meal?
Fish tacos.
Fish tacos.
Yes.
So sometime last year, I think it was last year, we got a scottle.
Finally.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype and like, okay, that looks like it might be fun. And we were camping with some friends over there at the Northwest Overland Rally.
Yep.
And Gray Dodge had his scottle and cooked up some good food, made some popcorn, and everything that he made was it was so impressive that we were sold and had to get one.
Yeah.
And so, our favorite thing to do is just sort of a fish taco. We'll saute up some cod or whatever fish we have on hand. And then slaw, seasoning, avocados, and, and little mini taco shells.
Yeah.
Well, living on the coast, you've got a good selection of seafood, fresh seafood.
Yes.
That's what I love about living here in the Pacific Northwest. Our seafood is totally underrated.
Agree.
So, guys, we like to get philosophical around here. So, here's the big question for you today. What do you wish you had known when you started out? This could be your career. It could be anything you want. What do you wish you had known when you first started out?
Well, I think I wish, you don't really, when we started out, it seemed like there was all this gear that we had to have, and there was so much. And, there's this advertised, and you see this on YouTube, and you see this. And I wish I realized at the beginning, kind of when we started getting the 4RUNNER and then everything, we really didn't need to rush into getting all those things, I'm a planner, and this was one thing I really didn't plan out as much, I guess. And we did buy a lot of things. So I guess I wish I would have really thought about things a little more and what do we really need. So I don't know. What about you? Corey doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so we'll
I'm
move
pretty
on.
happy with how everything's turned out in life. That
Okay, I'm with that. So we're going to get even deeper now. What's the most important thing you've learned in your life? What was your life before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it? So we'll say it one more time for our audience. What's the most important thing you've learned in your life? What was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
I say make time for living. From the time I turned 16, I've worked full time or more than full time. Just an absolute workaholic. It's what I've always done. When I started working at the big hospital there in Vegas, the first thing they told me was, hey, you've got unlimited overtime. You can take as much call as you want. And at 21 years old, I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I spent the next 15 years working 60 to 80 hours a week just because I could. And suddenly I was 40 and kids were half grown, and I missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I would say for me, actually one of Corey's favorite sayings is kind of what I was thinking. He says, life is a choose your own adventure. And it's 100% true. Years ago, I was in a marriage, and it was just a different experience. And, I finally made choices and went to nursing school, and, I didn't think I could do it, but you can do it. I mean,
absolutely.
My life is amazing now, and it's all because I chose my own path.
All right.
And yeah.
I love stuff like that. That's why I ask these questions. That's the weird thing about my podcast. I feel like overlanding isn't just the vehicle. It isn't just going somewhere. It's a lifestyle. It's a mindset, and I love it. So let's get back to some real overlanding stuff. We're going to talk about some gear and things like that. I want to know, in the last 12 months, what's been the best investment in gear and why?
Well, we kind of already talked about it, probably. The Scottle.
Yeah, I'd say the Scottle is our favorite.
All right.
Yeah, it's with our trailer, we love it, but we like to cook lots of things, and the cooking area is in the back of it, and it makes a mess everywhere, all over the trailer. And then you got to clean, and it's right there. If you're in the wind, it's you're kind of stuck where you are. The Scottle you can put anywhere, and it packs up small, and you can move it away from the trailer, so the mess is away from the trailer. So I really like it. So I would say the Scottle. Definitely.
Well,
somewhere during this interview, I will have put up some pictures of your vehicles so people will kind of know what your setup is. And so you guys can pretty much go in different directions because you got two different vehicles plus the trailer. So you can travel in multiple different types of ways. Mm-hmm. So my question is, what's your favorite type of trail to wheel?
Well, Corey, you want to get this one?
So I enjoy the challenging trails in the Jeep. something that takes some thought process and picking your line. And when you have the trailer in, it makes it even that much more, because now you're running 6 wheels and double your length. And so you have to think, can I make this corner? Can I get over here? How's everything going to fit through?
Mm-hmm.
So I like the thought process of the technical stuff.
So I have a question about that. I've never looked at trailers seriously. And the main reason is because the challenge, I think, of adjusting to parking, moving, using a trailer. How long did it take for you to make that adjustment?
It was a pretty short learning curve. I've had several boats and like big travel trailers that I drag with my truck. And so moving down to this little tiny 10-foot teardrop trailer.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It was pretty short learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, back to food. Now, you told me what you do to impress people, but I've noticed in a lot of my travels and hanging out with different people, a lot of people have like a ritual first meal or a routine first meal that they have when they're on their journeys. Do you guys have something like that?
Mai Tais.
I should have known it was something drinking. I wasn't going to mention that these guys can put it away.
That's true, actually.
I
mean, not that part, but yes. Our Mai Tais are kind of our go-to when we first get somewhere.
Yeah, we don't really have any ritual meals, but as soon as we have camp set up, that's the first thing we usually do is we pour a Mai Tai.
All right.
Corey pre-makes Mai Tais at home and puts it into a small growler. And then when we arrive, we just pour it over ice and we start setting up.
Yep, that's our celebration. We're here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to know what's currently at the top of your bucket list for a trailer adventure. I know when you first got started, the big thing was to do the Oregon backcountry discovery route, but you guys have done that over and some. What's on your bucket list now?
Southern Utah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We're heading there in October. So we're excited to explore Utah. Mm-hmm.
So we didn't talk about this, but if you're going to Southern Utah, you guys got to hook up with me offline. I can give you some awesome campsites, some memorable campsites.
Yeah, that would be great.
We'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
So what should I have asked you? What didn't I know to ask you that I should have asked you?
Well, I think you pretty much covered it, but, I guess a good question is, how do we choose what to take each trip? I mean,
I would like to know that.
We're pretty fortunate to have a few things, but one thing is, we do have enough. We're able to make a decision, and we kind of think what trail we're going to go on and what's our terrain, I guess. And if the kids are going, it's an automatic 4RUNNER because they'll sleep in the rooftop tent and we'll have the trailer. Are we going for one night? If so, a lot of times we'll just take the 4RUNNER and the rooftop tent. If we're going for multiple nights, we love taking the Jeep and the trailer.
And then a lot of it depends on freeway driving as well.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
The short wheelbase of the 2-door Jeep, it tends to wander quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And if there's any wind at all, it's absolutely terrifying to run down the freeway.
Yes.
So the 4RUNNER is a lot more comfortable on a long distance trip. So basically anything inside Oregon, we'll take the Jeep. Anything past that, we'll try and...
I want to get you guys' opinion on couples and the social aspect of overlanding and travel in general. And so let me set you up for this.
Okay.
Guys, I get around a little bit. And through my observations, what I have noticed is that in a majority of couples who do this overlanding thing, there's usually one that's gung-ho, and then there's one that's either there to maintain you or to observe you, or they don't want to be left. There's usually one that's really gung-ho, and then there's one that's not, even if they smile it. And the reason why I want to ask you guys is because I have never seen that chink in your armor. I've been trying to figure out, I initially thought it was you, Julie, because, you're the more outspoken one. You do most of the narration on it. But
Yeah.
I've talked to Corey. I've seen his enthusiasm. So it seems like, I'm sure it's not 50-50, but it's as close as I've ever seen to 50-50 in my life. Now, with that setup, do you meet couples or interact with couples in your traveling overlanding where you do sense what I just said, where it's one person that is more interested in going and the other one is maybe more like a ball and chain, or they're the obstacle in them traveling more or doing more?
Yeah, we see that. We got several friends that we will meet up and go overlanding and camping with. And sometimes it's both of them. Sometimes it's just John. It depends on. Yeah, sometimes his wife comes along. Sometimes she just isn't feeling it. But she always has fun when she gets there.
But then we have other friends who, it seems like both of them maybe are into it. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm going another direction now. I know that you guys, I wanted to put this out here about you because I think it's very benevolent. Not only are you supporting a family, not only are you supporting your own adventures, but you guys support other overlanders' adventures. I'm not going to get into their names. I don't know if you want to or not. But you are the supporter of several other overlanders. And my question to you is, how did that first start? Was it just you guys do that in general, or how did that start? That you guys decided to start supporting people?
Well, I think YouTube. At the beginning, we were watching a lot of YouTube to inspire us and get pointers and to excite us. And we did come across a few that we really enjoy watching. They give us lots of good information. They bring adventure to our living room when we're on call. And so I think, it's just kind of, we started supporting one and then another and then another. And we like what they do. And we think they have good, valuable information for people. So I don't know. What's your thought?
Yeah, that says it exactly. I mean, they're working hard and inspiring us. And so we figured we can give back and help them out, keep maintaining their adventure, which then comes right back to us.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that's where you would end it, because the reason why I know that you do it for more than one person is because I happen to do the same thing for the same people. So I've come across your names. And I never mention that to anyone, and I know that you guys never mention it, so I knew it was genuine. And I wanted people to understand that that's the benefit. I've had conversations with people before as to, why would you help this person? Why would you support that person? And you're working yourself and blah, 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 blah. And you have to understand the benefit of giving. You have to understand the benefit of seeing someone else blossom, someone else enjoy life. Stop being so
That's right.
selfish. So I wanted to get that out there. That's all. How does someone find you guys on
Do you know
social
Corey?
media?
No, I was joking.
It's going to be all typed down there, but just in case, for someone listening to it and not watching it.
CJ, I think _adventure. And then we are also on YouTube. But otherwise, that's about it. So CJ Adventure on YouTube also. So. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the weirdest interview I've ever had because I know you guys. So I've seen like behind the curtain, so it just feels weird interviewing you guys. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you for doing your podcast.
Yeah, thanks for the podcast. Thanks for, like we said, keeping us inspired. I love your Instagram. I love watching where you're heading and where you're at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some of your meals you have. You've posted some really nice meals.
Well, just like I've stolen some of your recipes, I've stolen many others.
So the Overland community is awesome. I mean, they really are. We've joined you at the Overland Rally or seen you at the Overland Rally before. And one thing we found is the Overland community is so genuine and ready to help others. And that's something that we didn't expect, I guess, right? When we started doing this, we did not expect that people would be so genuine and so willing to help. And it's really amazing. So, yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
I agree. Well, I want to thank you guys for spending this time with me. I want to thank you guys for sharing and being open and being revealing. I think it'll benefit the community to hear your story. I think it'll benefit them even more to start listening to and watching your YouTube channel and seeing how a busy, hectic working family with kids in school.
That's right. Exactly.
You can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the podcast. We leave you this week with footage from Glacier National Park in Montana. We'll see you next week. I hope you like, share, and subscribe. And with that, I want everybody to stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on a trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you.